The Association of Consecrated Women in Eastern and Central Africa is a regional body made up of national associations of sisterhoods who are women superior generals of 10 countries in Eastern and Central Africa, including Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. Every 3 years, AQUECA holds a plenary assembly rotating from one country to another. This year in 2024, the plenary assembly will be held in Malawi from the 19th to the 23rd of August. During this year, AQUECA will also be celebrating 50 years of existence. It shall hold the plenary assembly and celebrate 50 years of existence at the same time. The theme of the plenary assembly shall be Transformative Holistic Formation for Authentic Living Towards a Deeper Evangelization in the AQUECA region and beyond. Glad you could join us for our 7:30 News Bulletin. My name is Tandi Wemzumara. Let's have a look at our top stories. Pope Francis lambasts the scourge of human trafficking. Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) receives first shipment of election management devices for voter registration. Malawi requires $1.2 billion investment for food system transformation by 2030. And in our exclusive report this week, Robert Edward narrates how anti-corruption stakeholders have reacted to the discontinuance of high-profile cases on corruption allegations. We have the details to these stories and more. Do stay with us. Pope Francis has urged for the abolition of human trafficking, one of the most terrible scourges of our time that disrespects and disregards human dignity and delivers large profits to people without moral scruples. The Holy Father denounced the practice in his message addressed to the participants of the General Assembly of Dalita Kum, the organization formed by survivors actively engaged in the fight against human trafficking. We have more details on this Catholic News Register report read by Charity Chilanga.
For Pope Francis, human trafficking is a systemic evil, and as such we can and must eliminate it through a systematic multi-level approach. The Pontiff said trafficking is reinforced by wars and conflicts, benefits from the effects of climate change and socioeconomic disparities, and takes advantage of the vulnerability of people forced to migrate or the conditions of inequality in which they find themselves, especially women and girls. The Holy Father pointed out that trafficking is a business that disrespects and disregards human dignity, delivering large profits to people without moral scruples. The Pope urged participants not to be discouraged because with the power of the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ and the dedication of so many, we can succeed in eliminating it. To accomplish this, Pope Francis stressed the importance of following the steps taken by Dalita Kum. Stand by the victims, listen to them, help them get back on their feet, and together take action against trafficking. Finally, Pope Francis encouraged Dalita Kum members to continue on this path, furthering prevention and care and weaving together many variable relationships that are indispensable in order to combat and defeat trafficking.
The Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) has received the first consignment of election management devices (EMDs) through the Kamuzu International Airport. EMDs are electronic gadgets that the Commission will use in the 2025 general elections for processes such as voter registration, a transfer of votes, inspection of the voters' register, nomination of candidates, and management of results. Phyllis Chizombe has filed this report.
Speaking after receiving the first consignment of the Malawi electoral devices, one of the commissioners, Dr. Emmanuel Fabiano, said the election management devices are electronic gadgets designed to enhance the voter registration process. Fabiano lamented that the devices will replace the biometric voter registration kits used in the 2019-2020 elections, marking a significant upgrade in the Commission's technology. Fabiano has stated that the EMDs will improve the efficiency and accuracy of the voter registration process to ensure a smooth rollout. The Commission will conduct training for 15,000 officials who will operate the devices in the month of June. The training will enable officials with necessary skills to effectively use the EMDs during the voter registration exercise.
Well, I think the key point is that when we are for example, when we are registering people who are voters, we'll keep a record, and that record will be kept and will be transmitted to our computers and all our storage systems much more easily. At the end of the day, we have to produce a voters register, and we don't want to do that manually. When you do it using the equipment, the work is much faster.
The switch to election management devices displays Malawi Electoral Commission commitment to embracing technology to improve the electoral process in Malawi. Phyllis Chizombe, Luntha News, Lilongwe.
The Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress of China, His Excellency Mr. Kai Defeng, is expected to visit Malawi from the 27th to the 29th of May 2024. His Excellency Defeng, who will be leading a 15-member delegation, is expected to arrive at the Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe on Monday 27th May around 10 minutes to 1 in the afternoon. Herbert Kadanda has filed this report.
The visit is aimed at strengthening bilateral relations and promoting cooperation between the two countries. Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Charles Nkalamba did not pick our calls after several attempts. During the visit, His Excellency Defeng will hold talks with the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Catherine Godanihara. This comes months after President Lazarus Chakwera announced that Malawi will be receiving foreign investors to initiate development activities taking part in different parts of the country. The relationship between Malawi and China dates back early in 2000. On the 28th December 2007, the People's Republic of China and the Republic of Malawi formally established diplomatic relations. Over the past 15 years, both countries have witnessed fast and sound development with fruitful cooperation in various fields.
The 2024-2030 Malawi Food Systems Strategy and Investment Plan has underscored the need for a $1.2 billion infusion to revamp the nation's food systems between 2024 and 2030. This revelation emerged during a national stakeholder consultation meeting convened in Lilongwe, organized by the Mwabata Institute in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, National Planning Commission, with support from the USAID Feed the Future Food Systems for Nutrition Innovation Lab at Tufts University. We have more details on this report by Phyllis Chizombe.
Speaking during the meeting, Shiban Ghosh, Director of the Feed the Future Food Systems for Nutrition Innovation Lab, emphasized the meeting's significance, highlighting its crucial role in devising strategies to actualize the plan. Ghosh underscored the importance of collaborative efforts in realizing the objective outlined in the plan stressing that innovative approaches and sustainable practices would be pivotal in achieving lasting impact on Malawi's food systems. She also mentioned the need for continued support from various stakeholders, including government entities, NGOs, and international partners to address the complex challenges facing the country's food security and nutrition landscape.
And the reason why this event is quite critical is because this is about taking stock of the progress that has happened over the transformation, but also to identify where are the opportunities to increase collaboration across different partners.
National Planning Commission Research Manager Andrew Jamali stated that tackling the obstacles hindering the transformation of food systems could contribute to realizing Malawi's vision for 2063.
This is a very important undertaking. You might want to know that when we talk about food systems, it is cutting across all the sectors. We're talking about production, we're talking about distribution, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about agro-processing and stuff like that. So when you look at these key elements, they're actually fitting within the pillars and enablers of Malawi 2063, to the extent that as we actually operationalize and implement food systems interventions, we are silently addressing some of the key interventions under pillars and enablers of Malawi 2063.
Mapata Institute Executive Director William Chanza expressed stakeholders' belief that it is essential for the nation to adopt diversified food production and dietary practices.
Well, this consultation meeting is very important because the stakeholders are discussing on how they can accelerate the transformation of food systems in Malawi. Basically to look at some of the challenges and also some of the opportunities, and then agree on how we can accelerate change in terms of food systems in the country.
The funding is necessary to boost the food supply chain, enhance environmental sustainability, elevate healthcare provisions, and fortify the social, economic, and political frameworks. Vales Chizombe, Luntha News, Lilongwe.
You're still watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, but before I proceed, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Francis lambasted the scourge of human trafficking. Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) receives first shipment of election management devices for voter registration. Malawi requires $1.2 billion investment for food system transformation by 2030. And in our exclusive report this week, Robert Edward narrates how anti-corruption stakeholders have reacted to the discontinuance of high-profile cases on corruption allegations. Proceeding with the news, the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services has warned that there will be persistent cold weather in the country as we're within the winter season. This has been announced through a Friday, May 24th statement amidst constant climate change affecting the country and its yields. Emmanuel Mushiwocha has more details.
In an interview with Luntha Television, Director for the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services, Luntha Tv, says there will be cold temperatures and rainfall in the southern highlands and Shire Valley areas. Tira urged citizens to take necessary precaution to stay warm during this winter season.
Yes, we are now in winter season, so we expect the temperatures to significantly drop. So this is what we are expecting, and it's normal to have such kind of temperatures, and sometimes even some rain drizzle, even showers in some places are also expected, more particularly southern highlands, or sometimes even extending to other, even Shire Valley.
While temperatures are expected to rise during the day from Friday to Sunday, nights will remain cold. Additionally, Tira warned of strong winds expected from Sunday, particularly along Lake Malawi, advising fishermen to exercise the caution. This weather advisory comes amidst a period of climate change affecting the countries, with El Niño conditions affecting this year's crop yield. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
Frustrations have marked reactions to the discontinuation of the corrupt allegations case involving Vice President Dr. Salos Chilima, with anti-graft groups suggesting legal reforms to sections that give exclusive powers to the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. The accountability part of the Constitution on the matter seems to also fall short of satisfying citizens' misgivings on the reasons for the DPP decision, with National Advocacy Platform NAP chairperson and lawyer Benedicto Kondowe saying powers may not be exercised if the exercise will not be in the interest of Malawians. As Robert Edward narrates in this week's exclusive report, Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB maintains that aduta continua.
From the May 2021 twists and turns in the appointment, confirmation, rejection, and reappointment following public misgivings to her dramatic arrest, the graft-busting body chief Martha Chizuma's maiden groan to the corruption world of making corruption uncomfortable to everyone regardless still echoed hopes in the ears of holders of Malawi Constitution's Section 12 powers. But the ruling of the High Court Financial Crimes on 6th May 2024 on criminal case number 10, decision and events leading to the decision has left our with legal and advocacy scholars questioning, is fighting corruption an academic enterprise? For starters, people are not happy, according to National Anti-Corruption Alliance chairperson Moses Nkandawire.
I would want to start by saying that a majority of Malawians are terribly frustrated given the pace and lack of commitment and seriousness with regard to the fight against corruption. Because, corruption has become so pervasive.
The Vice President was arrested and released on bail by the Chief Resident Magistrate Madaliso Chimwaza on November 25, 2022. Before the matter was committed to the High Court Financial Crimes Criminal Registry on 19 May 2023, over half a year after the arrest, where Justice Professor Edson Kapindu took charge. Technically, the matter did not commence, as the Vice President had not taken plea yet, meaning the only closest that the case reached to commencement was on September 26, 2023, when the judge read out charges to the Vice President. This was after a tussle with defense which continued until other rulings this year on evidence from Malawi Defense Force MDF, which according to Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament was the security aspect of the case, forcing the Director of Public Prosecutions to discontinue the case.
The main reason why the DPP felt there was need to discontinue this case was basically to do with the fact that MDF was somehow involved in the case. I know as reporters we've been following the case, and the DPP, I think after consultations, really felt that the national security would be compromised through the involvement of the MDF.
But throughout the period of the hearing, though the trial had not commenced, the Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB, could be walking shoulders high that the untouchable powers were still under justice scrutiny until the discontinuation, which according to the National Advocacy Platform chairperson Benedicto Kondowe, the decision may render any strong stance against corruption fight to be just academic.
Now, the discontinuance of the cases in itself would give a perception that the fight against corruption is an academic enterprise, that perhaps government doesn't really mean what it said. Appreciating the fact that much as none of the discontinued cases in terms of the defendants pleaded guilty, all of them pleaded not guilty.
The decision by the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, to discontinue the case, as noted by Justice Kapindu's May 6th ruling, has sparked debate on the exclusive powers enjoyed by the office of the DPP on Section 99 through 100 of the Constitution, with a 22 May 2024 dated National Anti-Corruption Alliance statement demanding legal reforms to strengthen the Section 101 of the Constitution and 77 of the Penal Code to have another institution to be checking the decision of the DPP before it happened.
There must be scrutiny before the DPP discontinues the case. This is what is happening in South Africa and Kenya, where the law has created an independent body where the DPP would present reasons that he considers to be meriting discontinuance. This independent organ will analyze those reasons. If the reasons are justified, then they will give a note to DPP to proceed discontinuing. If this body is dissatisfied, the DPP has no power to discontinue such cases.
Following ruling on 3rd April 2024, which discussed the issue of sensitivity of the MDF's National Defense Council meeting minutes, leading to dismissal of Chidima's bid to have the documents accessed by the defense, a part of the same ruling which gave liberty to the defense to still bring the application when trial starts, saw some outside court insinuations that there is a security aspect of the case that ought to not have been given a blind eye.
That if after commencement of trial it becomes apparent that the material we had asked for must be disclosed, the SCB and the allied state agencies will have a decision to make. Do we disclose this material which we think is of vital national security implications, or are we going to terminate the case because we don't want to disclose the material? So that's may possibly be a decision that the Bureau or the state may have to make somewhere down the line.
The underlying view from experts, however, remains that if the case was to be discontinued by the Bureau, actually, under court's condition envisaged in the 3rd April, SCB's shoulders will remain high for sending a message that everyone can be brought to book if suspected of doing corruption. This could further have been cemented by the fact that the prosecution of the Vice President followed massive arrest of other high-profile individuals, including former Inspector General and presidential advisors and cabinet ministers. But does the discontinuation justify the reason for quenching the fire in graft fight?
As a Bureau, we would like to encourage Malawians that we should not despair. We should continue with the fight. This fight is for the nation. It's not just for one person. It's not just for the Bureau. When we are fighting corruption, we are fighting for the future of this nation. And as such, I think as a nation, we cannot relent. We cannot manage to fold our hands.
It remains clear that something must be done with powers of the DPP to be speaking with the spirit of Section 12 of the Malawi Constitution, which provides that all persons have equal status before the law.
Now, in other news, Iran interred its late President Ibrahim Raisi at the holiest Shiite shrine in the nation on Thursday, days after a fatal helicopter crash killed him, the country's foreign minister, and 6 others. Raisi was placed inside a tomb at the Imam Reza shrine in Mashhad, where Shiite Islam's 8th Imam is buried. We have an African news report read by Bernard Manza.
The death of the president and the foreign minister comes at a politically sensitive moment for Iran, both at home and abroad. There is growing dissent within the country over a range of political, social, and economic issues, and its critical rulers are facing increasing international pressure over Tehran's disputed nuclear program. As the 5 days of official mourning near their end, interim President Mohammad Bourguiba vowed Raisi's death would not interrupt government operations. Fouad Izzad, a professor of international relations at Iran University, believes that what happens next with Iran's domestic and national policies depends on the results of presidential elections due to take place on 28th June. Iranian state media reported that candidates are to be registered from 30th May to 3rd June. Recent elections in Iran have been marked by the exclusion by the oversight body of moderate and pro-reform rivals.
That also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we leave, here's a reminder of our top stories. Pope Francis lambasted the scourge of human trafficking. Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) receives first shipment of election management devices for voter registration. Malawi requires $1.2 billion investment for food system transformation by 2030. And in our exclusive report this week, Robert Edward narrates how anti-corruption stakeholders have reacted to the discontinuance of high-profile cases on corruption allegations. My name is Tandy Wenzumara. Thank you for keeping me company and continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Goodbye for now and have a lovely weekend.